This
presentation,
conference
right?
will now be recorded.
Cdisc presentation we have done, correct? So now we will move on to a concept called SDTM. Okay, so these are some basics. Okay, basic concepts for Cdisc and SDTM. So in SDTM we have a file called SDTM implementation guide. In SDTM we have a file called SDTM implementation guide. Everybody across the globe has to follow this implementation guide only. Okay, SDTM IG. Actually, previously it is version 3.1.2. Now it is version 3.2 and now it is 3.3. Earlier it was 3.2, now it is 3.3. From last two batches onwards, I started with version 3.3 only. Okay, so meanwhile, sometimes like whenever you say you are an experienced programmer, people will ask you, so what is the difference between version 3.2 and version 3.3? So what are the new things that are newly added? So for this reason, in your presentation I have given you see, right? So in your presentation you see, right? Have we given, so what are the topics that are newly added in version 3.2? So 3.3, don't tell I'm working on 3.3. I know 3.3, but I know my studies are 3.2. So initially whenever we are whenever we are setting up a study, at that time what all the versions we follow the same throughout the submission. So whenever, you all know, clinical trial, if I start today, it may take years, 5 years, 10 years also it can take. Okay, right? So initially my study, I started it version 3.2. Okay, so earlier we used to follow 3.1.2. So then interviewer, there is a chance, he might ask what is the difference between version 3.1, 3.2, what are the things that are newly added in version 3.2. Okay, so newly added domains in version 3.2, you can see, right? Health encounters, death details, immunogenicity domain is right, immunogenicity, specimen assessment, so microscopic findings, morphology, reproductive system findings. So if you ask, have you worked on? No, I did not get a chance to work on. So we did not work on this. Okay, so subject status, skin response, trial, this is element. So these are all the new domains that are added in version 3.2 in your SDTM implementation guide. Okay, is that fine? Right. So this is an interview question. I want you guys to prepare at least this. Just go through some basics. So did you get a chance? Have you worked on any of these domains? Means no, I did not work on. Okay, I did not get a chance. So as I told you in my implementation guide, there are almost all 30 to 35 domains are there. Okay, equivalent actually. So there are around 30 to 40 domains are there. So in every study, we will not create all these domains. Okay, whatever is applicable to my study, only those domains, those data sets we create. Rest we will not. So in my study there are no microscopic findings. Why I will use MA domain or MO domain? Correct? So we will not use this. Based on my study requirement, I choose a domain. So 40 unte prati study lo we will not do all 40. That is a first point to be noted. So now, what are the important domains in general we use in a real-time scenarios? So I will explain those domains. So whenever you are saying that I am creating an SDTM data set, so what are the variables that are important? You have to add here. You see, right? So what variable? Suppose to say I have created a demographic data set. Okay, I have created a demographic data set. So as per the standard Cdisc standard, okay, so what information I should present in this data set? As per Cdisc standard, what information I'm supposed to present in this data set? That is important. You can see here, right? So study data tabulation model, implementation guide, human clinical trials. So version 3.3, it is final. So 3.4 is also running, it is in draft stage. Okay, 3.4 version is also there, but still it is in draft stage. So this is a final version. 3.3 is a final version. If anybody is starting a trial, they have to follow latest standards version 3.3. So what all the classifications I have given? Cdisc presentation is there, right? That presentation is done from this implementation guide only. So identifier, topic, timing, qualifier, rule. You see, right? Again, qualifiers, you said grouping, results, synonym, record qualifiers, variable qualifiers. You see, right? So from this PDF only, I have created that presentation. Okay, so everybody across the globe has to follow these standards. Suppose to say if you're working in a clinical trial, clinical research, so whenever you are capturing data, all your data should be with respect to SDTM standards. If it is not, you have to convert raw data into SDTM standards. Okay, right. So these are all the standard domains. I have already shown you this. So whatever is important, I picked for you. I have given in that. We cannot go through all 100 pages or 1000 pages, right? So you said right, demographics domain. So first one, I'm going through special purpose domain. Special purpose domain is demographics domain. So what is a special purpose domain? What is the description? Which case we call it as a special purpose domain? Come on, guys. Special purpose domain ఎప్పుడు అంటాం? What is a special purpose domain?
Datasets which are not coming into the category interventions events findings.
Right. Datasets that contains information about your subject and does not belong to any of the three categories: interventions, events, and findings, then it is called a special purpose domain. Basic question. ఇంటర్వ్యూలో అడిగినప్పుడు మీరు ఇలాగే తెల్లముఖం వేశారనుకోండి, people will not continue for next questions because this is basic. If you are not good at basics, people not even care at you. ఇంపార్టెంట్ అని చెప్తున్నప్పుడు ఫాలో అవ్వాలి, చేయాలి. ఓకే, right. So now you can see here, this is your DM domain, demographics domain. You can see, so dm.xpt. So dm.xpt is whenever we are submitting this information, dm.xpt, you can see, right? dm.xpt, what it will do? Demographic domain xpt is SAS transport file. Demographics, one record per subject tabulation, one record per subject tabulation. Study ID, domain, subject ID, RF STDTC, RF ENDTC, RFX STDTC, RFX ENDTC, RF ICDTC, RFP ENDTC, DTH DTC, DTH FL, site ID, investigator ID, investigator name, BRTH DTC, age units. These are the list of standard variables that should be presented in demographics domain. Apart from this, whatever the variable you capture, it becomes a non-standard data. Non-standard data will store in a data set called supplemental qualifier data set. Supplemental qualifier data set. Correct. Come on, guys, you are not up to the mark. Please. Theory is also important. So ఎక్కడ పెట్టాలి తెలియకపోతే ఏం చేస్తారు? So I have given 10 variables. Out of that, 4 variables are not part of this list. So where will you keep these 4 variables if you don't know? Theory is very much important. So that day I clearly explained you race 1, race 2, race 3, race OTH. You guys remember this, yes or no? Right. So please follow up. If you are not following, you will be into biggest trouble. Okay, so that is what I can tell. Rest, it is your choice. నేను ఎవరిని ఆరాధలుచుకోవాలి, ఎందుకంటే ప్రతి బ్యాచ్ ఇక్కడికి వచ్చిన తర్వాత స్లో అవుతారు. Because this is a theory. Okay, this is a theory, it is a dry concept, but still you have to prepare. Hardly I need half an hour before you come to the session. Just go through half an hour here, that is more than enough. వచ్చే ముందు ఒక అరగంట జస్ట్ ఓవర్ వ్యూ చేసుకుంటే కూడా you can do it, right? హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్ దొరకట్లేదు సార్ అంటే నేనేం చేయలేను. I cannot comment on it. Theory is also very much important. Okay, right. నేను లేటెస్ట్ వర్షన్ చెప్పాలని డిసైడ్ అయ్యాను. వీళ్ళకి అంత సీన్ లేదులే, అవసరం లేదని అనిపించద్దు అంతే. Okay, so I should not feel that's okay, these guys, that don't have that potential. Even though if I add up things also, these guys are not ready to take and they will not be able to take. So that feeling I should not get. Okay, so I wanted to show the differences between version 3.2, 3.3. So reason I picked 3.2, 3.3 both I opened. వీళ్ళకంత అవసరం లేదులే అని అనిపించద్దు. Okay, that's what. So now you can see here, this is your demographics domain. You can see study ID. So whenever we are explaining set of all the data sets, I explained you, right? So important variables, key variables are study ID, domain ID, use subject ID, and etc, etc, correct? But everywhere you see the common variables are study ID, subject ID, and some other variables. So now you can see here study ID. So in this demographics data set, the data structure is one record per subject. One subject should contain only one record. In DM data set, subject number 102 has two records. It is a blunder. In DM data set, subject number 102 has two records. It is a blunder. Okay. So as per the standards, one subject should contain only one record. Okay, right. So interviewers, wantedly they will give two records. You see, is this data set fine or not? So see, okay, and you are into trouble. Okay, so this is a basic point, one record per subject. So here in this data set, what all the variables you are supposed to present? Okay, so what is your metadata core classification? Metadata core classification.
Required,
Metadata core
expected,
classification. Required,
permissible,
expected, permissible. What is
permissible.
required?
Variable must be present in the data set and it cannot be null record. It should not
Variable
have null
must be
record.
present in the data set and it cannot be null. That is a
Null
required
record.
classification. Expected,
It must be present in the data set, can also have null value.
it must be present in the data set, but it can have null values. Permissible,
Variable should be included in data set provided data set is collected from
so this
investigator name.
variable should be included in the data set provided if you have data collected for that variable. Correct? Provided if you have data collected for that variable. Okay, so if you have not collected any information related to this variable, in that case I can drop the variable from this parent domain. From SDTM DM dataset, I can remove that variable, I can drop that variable. That is a permissible variable classification. So here study ID variable is present in DM dataset. Study identifier, unique identifier for a study. In general, here we write protocol number. Okay, so whatever is the protocol number, we write that protocol number. Study ID is protocol number. You say, right, it is required variable. Required variable means this variable compulsory I should keep in DM domain. At the same time, this variable should not contain null values. Domain. So domain abbreviation. What is this domain about? Demographics. So in your domain variable, you have a controlled terminology. You are not allowed to write free text. So for variables, whichever has controlled terminology, you have to follow that standards. In this demographic domain, so in domain variable, you are supposed to write two characters DM and two character abbreviation for the domain. So here it is a Cdisc notes. What information you should keep in this variable, you should store in this variable. That explanation is given in Cdisc notes. You can see right two character abbreviation for the domain. You see right required variable. It is a required. And use subject ID. Use subject ID is always a combination of study ID, site ID, subject ID. So how will you do that combination? So you said study ID hyphen site ID hyphen
Concatenate.
subject ID. So which function we use in base SAS to do this?
Concatenate, sir.
అదే ఏం function?
Cat function.
Okay. So which function we use?
Strip, sir. Strip function.
No, here it's not strip. So whenever I'm explaining the definition cat x, this variable compulsory we use in a real-time scenarios, we have to derive. So cat x function will combine your character variables. It will remove leading blanks, trailing blanks. At the same time, it will insert hyphen separator. Okay, it will insert separator. Whatever the separator you want, it will insert. Here I want hyphen, so it will insert a hyphen separator. Cat x is the function. Correct? So కావాలంటే మీ నోట్స్ లో ఓపెన్ చేసి చూసుకోండి, నేను అప్పుడు చెప్పానా లేదా? Cat x function, while explaining cat x function, I clearly told you this is very much important. We will use in real-time scenarios for deriving use subject id variable. So that particular point I told, after explaining it is important, you guys are not up to the mark. ఓకే, ఇవాళ ఏం మాట్లాడను, రేపటి నుంచి కూడా మీరు ఇట్లాగే ఉంటే మాత్రం ఏంలా ఇంపోజిషన్ రాయిపిస్తా. అరిసి కూడా ఉపయోగం లేదు, ఇవాళ ఇప్పుడు అరుస్తారు తర్వాత వదిలేశారంటారు. సారేగా వాక్కుంటాడులే వదిలేస్తాడు అనుకుంటారు. నాకెందుకు కష్టం, మీ చేతే కష్టపడితే మీకు ఉపయోగం ఉంటుంది. From tomorrow onwards I will give imposition. Today you have an excuse. From tomorrow onwards, from the topics whatever is covered, if you guys are not able to answer, you have to write 30 times imposition for sure. Okay, so that is writing for you, not for me. You guys are writing for yourself. Feel it and write it. If you are not writing also, it's fine. I will not force anyone, I will not push anyone, but you will definitely see the difference when you are writing and you are not writing. Previous batch also, they didn't tell what is the definition for analysis sets. I asked them to write almost all 30 times. Yesterday one person, she called me, she told me, sir, at that time because you have given imposition, I was able to answer like very fast. Okay, so whenever I say this is important, this is important. If you are following it, fine. If you are not following it also, I will leave it to you. Right. So use subject id, you can see here, this is a use subject id. And subject id is subject identifier. Subject id 101, 102, E01, P01, whatever it is, or whatever the way you collect the data, you say it is a subject id. It is a character data type. Okay. And here the variable classification is topic, identifier. This also we covered, right? Identifier, topic, qualifier, rule, synonym qualifier, record qualifier. You can see, right? You already know the definitions, right? Classifications, right? Next, RFSTDTC. RFSTDTC is subject reference start date time. Subject reference start date time. When did the subject first expose it to study treatment? When did the subject first expose it to study treatment is RFSTDTC. You see, right? Reference start date time for the subject in ISO 8601 character format, usually equivalent to date time when subject was first exposed to study treatment. When subject was first exposed to study treatment. Required for all randomized subjects. Required for all randomized subjects. Will be null for all subjects who did not meet protocol milestones such as screen failures or unassigned subjects. Suppose to say, subject, for me to participate in my clinical trial, the person age should be between 18 to 60. The person is supposed to say 17 years. Is the person eligible to participate in my clinical is the person eligible to participate in my clinical trial? No, right? Obviously that subject will consider as a screen failure. So for that subject, can we give treatment? Can we give my investigational product? No. You can see, right? So it will be null. So this date will be null for subjects who are screen failures and for subjects where your treatment is not assigned. Suppose to say I have taken screening, the subject is screening passed, but still the subject is waiting to take treatment. Okay, still treatment is not assigned to the subject. So we do that assignment with a concept called randomization. Tells kada? So we do that assessment with a concept called randomization. Okay, right. So you can see here such as screen or unassigned subjects. You can see, right? For unassigned subjects also, subject is a screen pass, but still I did not assign a treatment to the subject. In that case, start date will be blank. Asal treatment assign chepothe how he will take the treatment, right? So it is blank. So it is an expected variable. And RF ENDTC, subject reference end date time. So reference end date time for subjects in ISO 8601 character format. Usually equivalent to date time when subject was determined to have ended the trial. Okay, when did the subject ended the trial? So it is equivalent to end date time. So for example, few people will leave the study in middle. Suppose to say that that person is located in Hyderabad. He for some reasons, he has to relocate to Pune. So from that the subject will not come, right? Pune వెళ్ళిపోతే ఆడే వస్తాడు Hyderabad. No, right? So in that case, you see here, whatever the last assessment we have, whatever the last visit information we have, so that case you see, right, RFE and DTC will be the last known date for the subject. Okay, like treatment end date, or you can see, right, treatment end date or date of last available. So last available information, suppose to say subject has to come to my clinic for 10 visits, 10 weeks he is supposed to come. So actually the last last date should be 10th week, correct? Last date should be 10th week, but the subject dropped in the middle. From 7th week onwards he is not coming. 8th week he didn't come. So in that case end date will be 7th week date. Okay, right? So did I suppose to say subject in between, suppose to say in my study, uh, the person should not smoke, or he should not drink. Okay, he should not consume alcohol. So somewhere in middle subject, he had a party, he went to the party, he had alcohol. So immediately from that day onwards we will, we will exclude the subject from study. So from that study again he is not eligible to participate in that study, he is done. So likewise last known dates, whatever the dates are we are having, so that we will have in RF ENDTC. So required for all randomized subjects and will be null for screen failures or unassigned subjects. And RFX STDTC, RFX STDTC is, so here date time of first study treatment. You see, right, date time of first study treatment. Here you see, right, subject reference start date time, subject reference end date time, but here date time of first study treatment. You see, right, first date of exposure to any protocol specified treatment or therapy. First date of exposure to any protocol specified treatment or therapy equal to earliest date value of EXSTDTC. So in this case there are some subjects who are already on medication. Okay, there are some subjects who are already in the medication. In your protocol it will say that subject is already undergoing medication ABC. Okay, so ABC is a protocol specified treatment or therapy. So in a real time scenarios also, majority of the people does not know the difference between RF STDTC and RFX STDTC. So I will make you understand the difference between this RF STDTC, RFX STDTC. Suppose to say here, this is my Excel sheet. So in my study, so this study is related to some cancer, oncology, solid tumors. So I am developing a molecule called XYZ 500 mg, and in my study I have placebo. These are my study treatments. Okay, these are my investigational treatments. So subject is already undergoing ABC 500 mg. So this is a protocol specified treatment. Protocol specified treatment or therapy. See, so for me to give XYZ 500 mg, I have to go through all screening process, everything, correct? But subject is already taking the medication ABC 500 mg. So in this case, if you see here, in this case, if you see here, shortcut cells kada meeku? Shortcut cells are control 1, it will go format cells. Control page up down, it will take this. So alignment you see, right? Wrap means Alt W. So if you wanted to select that, Alt W. So shrink to fit ఉంది చూసారా, K కింద letter, below K you see hyphen underline is there. Below M you see underline is there. If you wanted to merge or wrap, so you see right, I want to wrap text. So same length, it will wrap. You see right, protocol specified treatment or therapy. So now your investigator has taken some medication. Okay, your investigator has taken medication. So 101 subject, initially is taking ABC 500 mg. So he has taken this on 01 Jan 2022. Same subject is on treatment. Okay, so 4th Jan 2000 mg. Same subject 101 started taking XYZ 500 mg. Okay, so it is 5th Jan 22. Same subject 101, same treatment 6th Jan 22. Okay, so this is your exposure details. This is your exposure details. You see right? This is your exposure details. So RFX-ST-DTC. RFX-ST-DTC means date time when the subject started taking, protocol specified treatment or therapy. RFX-ST-DTC is date time when the subject first started taking, protocol specified treatment or therapy. So 1st Jan will be your RFX-ST-DTC. You got the point? RFX-ST-DTC will have first date when the subject got exposed to protocol specified treatment or therapy. That is the definition for RFX-ST-DTC. RFX-EN-DTC, end date time when the subject last taken your protocol specified treatment or therapy. So you see right here, if you see RFX-EN-DTC, you see right, so last date of exposure to any protocol specified treatment or therapy are equally to latest value of EX-EN-DTC. Okay, or the latest value of EX-EN-DTC if EX-EN-DTC was not collected or missing. So whatever the latest value for EX-ST-DTC that it will take. So here if you see on the same date I am ending my RFX-EN-DTC. You see right, RFX-EN-DTC. So protocol specified treatment or therapy ended at 4th Jan 2022. And RF-ST-DTC is date time when the subject first exposed to study treatment. RF-ST-DTC is date time when the subject first exposed to study treatment. RF-EN-DTC is date time when the subject ended taking your study treatment. Is that clear everyone, yes or no? You can see right. So now everybody understood RF-ST-DTC, RF-ST-DTC, RF-EN-DTC. Everyone understood this? Yes or no? మళ్ళీ నేను ఈ టేబుల్ వేయను, ఎండింగ్ వరకు మీరు గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాలి. So again I will not repeat this concept till the end. You have to keep this concept in mind. If something is not clear, please let me know.
Sir, explain it once again.
Okay, so for that first you have to read the definitions. So first of all, RF-ST-DTC is a reference start date time. So your reference product, whatever the start date time you have for reference product, that we will store in RF-ST-DTC. And RF-ST-DTC is protocol specified treatment or therapy. So in this case subject is already undergoing some treatment. So in this case, in your protocol itself they will write, okay, subject is already going through ABC 500 mg, it is fine for me, it will not have any violation or it will not have any impact on my drug. If he believes, then only he will allow it, right? Otherwise he will not allow, right? So subject is already undergoing some treatment. Okay, that treatment will not affect me, no problem. So in that case, I can take this. So subject is already undergoing treatment, right? So earliest date value of EXSTDTC. If you see here, the definition we have written, earliest value of EXSTDTC. Earliest value is nothing but first value, correct? So first value is RFXSTDTC. Is this clear? RFXSTDTC is clear now?
Yes, sir.
RFXSTDTC is clear. So same treatment, when did we end, is RFXENDTC. Same treatment, when did we end, it becomes RFXENDTC. Okay, right. And RFSTDTC is your investigational product. So on the molecule, whatever the molecule you are trying to investigate, that molecule we call it as a reference products. You see here, you can see 101. So here I started taking my reference product. I started giving this reference product to the subject. So RFSTDTC is, you can see the definition, reference start date time for subjects, usually equivalent to study treatment when the subject first exposed to study treatment. So study treatment is XYZ 500 mg. So we are testing XYZ 500 mg. It is a study treatment. ABC 500 mg is a protocol specified treatment or therapy. It is a protocol specified treatment. So when the first, when the subject first exposed to study treatment, that date we will write it in RFSTDTC. Is RFSTDTC is clear to everyone? Yes or no? Is it clear? Definition book lo undi already. ఒకసారి చూడండి, నేను మళ్ళీ చూపిస్తాను. And the end date, related end date will be RFE and DTC. Okay, related end date will be RFE and DTC. You can read the definitions now. You can download SDTM implementation guide from Google. Okay, Cdisc SDTM IG version 3.3. You download 3.3. Okay, so you'll be able to get it. So this is very important. So see, hardly I have taken very good time to explain these 4 or 5 variables, because this is important. Here I will slow down, I will make you understand. So ఎంత స్లో డౌన్ అయ్యి ఒక క్లాస్కి 5 వేరియబుల్స్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేశానంటే యూ హ్యావ్ టు అండర్స్టాండ్ ది ఇంపార్టెన్స్. సో మై టైమ్ షుడ్ నాట్ గో వేస్ట్. Okay, going forward, if I ask the difference, you guys should be able to answer it. Okay, so these will have 30 variables. 30 variables ఒక డొమైన్ నేను 5 రోజులు చెప్తే కష్టం. Correct. So wherever it is important, I will stay, I will make you, I will ensure everybody is understood. So here these variables are not important. Investigator ID, site ID, birth date is date of birth. This will not take time, but here it will take time. Okay, right? So is this clear to everyone? Yes or no? It is the area where I have to put lot of efforts. I have to continuously speak. But whereas in programming, I will explain you the concept. I will get that breathing time to run the program. It will execute, and I can show you, I can explain. But here I will not get that breathing time. This is very difficult for me to continuously talk. But still, I'm happy to do that. I expect the same from you. My hard work should not go waste. Yes, please go ahead.
Hi Raj, can you please go to the Excel sheet you just showed us? First one, if you see RFSTDTC, is this the study drug reference code?
RFSTDTC is reference start date time. So means we are study treatment. When did the study treatment first expose it to subject? That date will come into RFSTDTC.
Okay, here the reference date problem is it a placebo or a comparison drug along with this which we are?
It's not comparison. I'm not talking comparison. Comparison is different. You see, right? You have a placebo, you have XYZ 500 mg, right? I've taken XYZ 500 mg. So
Okay.
this is basically a parallel design. Parallel design means one subject will take only one study treatment, either XYZ or placebo. That's it.
Yeah, in that case, there should be a period in between that where washout will happen.
If it is a crossover, we will have period variables. Treatment period 1, treatment period 2 will be there. So that washout time will be there. That is a second design. That is separate.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Right. Okay. So that's all for today. I'll stop this here for today. So next class we will continue to have these variables. Yes, please.
సార్ నిన్న ప్రాక్సీ చాట్ దగ్గర ఎట్ ఎ టైం 2 వేరియబుల్స్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేస్తుంటే అవ్వట్లేదు అన్నాను కదా సార్.
అవుతుంది, ఎందుకు అవ్వట్లేదు?
డేట్ అండ్ టైమ్ మార్చి చేయమన్నా కూడా అవుతలేదు సార్, అది ఇట్స్ నాట్ వర్క్.
డేట్ అండ్ టైం చేంజ్ చేసినా కూడా అవ్వట్లేదా? సో హ్యాంగ్
లేదు
అవుతుందా,
సార్.
ఏమవుతుంది? ఎర్రర్ వస్తుందా, హ్యాంగ్ అవుతుందా, ఏమవుతుంది?
అంటే లోడ్ అవుతుంది సార్, అలా లోడ్ అయ్యి ఇట్ షోయింగ్ ప్రాక్సీ చాట్
ఎట్లా
రన్నింగ్.
ఓపెన్ చేసావు? SAS ఎక్కడి నుంచి ఓపెన్ చేసావు?
అంటే డేట్ మార్చిందా సార్?
SAS డేట్ మార్చిన తర్వాత SAS ఎలా ఓపెన్ చేసావు? డెస్క్టాప్ మీద డబుల్ క్లిక్ చేసావా?
అవును సార్.
అలా చేస్తే అవ్వదు. నేనేం చెప్పాను, నేను విండోస్ ఆర్ యూస్ చేసి SAS ఓపెన్ చేయమన్నా.
సార్.
ఇలా చేస్తేనే అవుతుంది. మళ్ళీ అక్కడదే క్లిక్ చేస్తే అక్కడ అదే పాత డేటే తీసుకుంటుంది కదా, మళ్ళీ దానికి డేట్
లేదు సార్,
మార్చుకుంటుంది.
విండోస్ ఆర్ ఓపెన్ చేసి శాస్ ఓపెన్ చేశాను సార్.
అలా
తర్వాత
చేస్తే ఓపెన్
మళ్ళీ
అవుతుంది, వర్క్ అవుతుంది. అలా చేస్తే వర్క్ అవుతుంది. చెప్పండి.
తర్వాత అది విండోస్ ఆర్ యూస్ శాస్ యూస్ చేయండి సార్. తర్వాత మళ్ళీ డేట్ మార్చి అప్పుడు డెస్క్టాప్ మీద ఉన్నది ఓపెన్ చేయండి సార్.
డెస్క్టాప్ మీద ఉన్నది ఓపెన్ చేయకూడదు. రెండు ఎందుకు ఓపెన్ చేసాం మరి? 2 సార్లు ఎందుకు ఓపెన్ చేసినావు SAS? ఇలా విండోస్ ఆర్ రాసి SAS రాస్తే SAS ఓపెన్ అవుతుంది. ఓకే, డేట్ మారిస్తే SAS ఓపెన్ అవుతుంది. మళ్ళీ ఎందుకు అక్కడ డెస్క్టాప్ మీద డబుల్ క్లిక్ చేసి ఎందుకు యూజ్ చేయాలి? ఇక్కడ SAS ఓపెన్ అయింది, మళ్ళీ అక్కడ ఎందుకు SAS ఓపెన్ చేయాలంటున్నాను నేను.
ఓకే.
ఓకేనా? డెస్క్టాప్ మీద ఉన్న
ఓకే
SAS ని యూజ్ చేసుకొని రన్ చేస్తే మీకు హ్యాంగ్ అవుతుంది. సో ఆ ఒక్క పర్టికులర్ ప్రొసీజర్ మీకు హ్యాంగ్ అవుతుంది. మీరు ఏం చేయాలి, విండోస్ ఆర్ యూజ్ చేసి SAS ఓపెన్ చేసి అప్పుడు ఓపెన్ అయిన అందుట్లో ఓపెన్ అయిన SAS లోనే మీరు Gchat Gplot రన్ చేయాలి, అప్పుడు వర్క్ అవుతుంది. ఓకేనా?
ఓకే సార్.
రైట్, చలో బాయ్.
సార్
ఎస్ ప్లీజ్.
సార్ నాకు రిజల్ట్స్ రావట్లేదు సార్ ప్రాక్ కంటెంట్స్ లో. పక్కన ఎడిటర్ పక్కన రిజల్ట్స్ వస్తాయి కదా సార్.
రిజల్ట్స్ వ్యూయర్ రావట్లేదా? రిజల్ట్స్ వ్యూయర్ రావాలంటే సెట్టింగ్స్ ఉంటాయి. గో టు టూల్స్, గో టు ఆప్షన్స్, గో టు ప్రిఫరెన్సెస్. టూల్స్, ఆప్షన్స్, ప్రిఫరెన్సెస్, రిజల్ట్స్ విండో, క్రియేట్ HTML టిక్ పెట్టుకొని సారీ your voice is not clear. ఇలా చేసినా రావట్లేదా? అది నేను చూడాలి. సరే, రేపు ఫస్ట్ అవర్లో అడగండి, ఒకసారి చూస్తాను నేను. ఓకే రైట్. సో నేను స్క్రీన్ షేరింగ్ పెడతాను, అప్పుడు చూసి ఐ విల్ ఆన్సర్ వాట్ ఇట్ ఈస్. ఓకే రైట్, దట్స్ ఆల్ ఫర్ టుడే గైస్. థ్యాంక్ యూ, బాయ్.